Busted Valentine, written with a clenched fist. He lit a fresh Lucky with the dying cherry from his predecessor and dragged deep. He had almost blazed through 2 packs, yet had lit only 1 match. It would have been late if he actually had somewhere to go, but all cases were closed and the phone wasn't going out of its way to ring. He was left with his own lonely thoughts. Leaning back in his chair, his feet on the desk, he exhaled a weary cloud skyward. It plumed on the ceiling like a vapor chandelier. You see, guys like him skate the gray area, a moral twilight between right and wrong, good and evil, cashing in on the inevitability. Vice has gravity on its side after all, so he's always going to have a gig exposing guys just as guilty as he. After a while, it's hard to tell who's who, what's what. His office was through a door in an alley and upstairs on the back end of a strip joint. They used to call this area downtown. With just an old wooden desk, some straight chairs, and a couch slouched against the wall, the place seemed cavernous. Yet every now and then the walls would close in, and he'd crawl through the window to his wrought iron perch. He would sit out there when it got too hot, or his head got too tight, and he would listen. He'd listen to the city rattle in its death throes, beneath the din of the perpetual tragedy carrying on below. Below, where grifters grifted and swindlers swindled. Below, where a sucker didn't last long. Below, where the used up and the washed up hustled the hard up and the broke down before they scampered off to loving wife and Junior. Wifey would get suspicious and he'd get the call. He'd tail the 2-timer, get some photos, show wifey, and boom! Goodbye suburban sanctuary and hello nights blubbering in your bourbon, relying on the old bump and grind for real, and writing letters like the one that now sat in front of him. He eyeballed the yellow envelope on his desk. Ruby was written neatly and underlined on the outside. It was still open. He pulled the letter out and unfolded it. A strip of photos fell out and onto the desk. They were the kind he got at the arcade after a day of cotton candy, riding the cyclone, and winning your sweetie a teddy bear at the shooting gallery with a sharp eye honed by Uncle Sam. There were 4 faded snapshots in all, mugging, goofing, clowning, all leading up to the kiss in the end, a salacious smooch frozen in time, proof positive, true love. He began to read the letter's lines and the cracks in between. The letter spun the memory reel, recounting first dates, trips taken, promises made, and plans for the future with all its white picket ever after. It recalled when they were both in love. Before his work consumed him, before the alcohol that he consumed right back, before he began spending nights on his office couch, too drunk to come home, before the unfortunates he rousted began to resemble and haunt him, before he was the only one left in love and left alone. It read as a last-ditch plea, a swing and a miss, a busted Valentine. Its author had obviously gone to great pains to plead his case without begging, warn without threatening, surrender without admitting defeat. Regardless, the desperation was deafening. The handwriting was forceful and urgent, pressed so hard that at times the dotted I's and beginning strokes broke the paper. It was written with a clenched fist. Well, it was pretty obvious as far as he was concerned. Yep, the author was clearly checking out. Satisfied with his deduction, and convinced whoever read it next would no doubt arrive at the same conclusion, he folded the letter and put it back in the envelope marked Ruby. He looked at the photos one last time before stuffing them in. He sealed the envelope with a rueful smile. Crushing his last cigarette with his one hand, he thumbed the hammer back on his .38 with the other. He raised it to his head. Ruby.